Skies all open wide, geese go high and over. Oh, now you're a beachcomber, a fistful of sandfire, sea, lavender. See you next year.
Farm Chat with
Jason and Nathan are the dynamic duo from the wonderful Deepdale farm on the North Norfolk coast.
The estate manager's got his hat on. Hip, 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 hooray.
Are you on the quad?
I am, yes, with a seed spreader on the back.
Well, it's Farm Chat. It's June. I don't know how it's June, but it is. It's June. And
Wait, how did that happen?
I know. Where did that come from? Anybody would thought it followed May. It's very strange. I'm sitting at home, not outside because I can't see my computer screen if I'm sitting outside because it's such beautiful weather. Nathan, on the other hand, is somewhere much more interesting. Where are you, mate?
I'm at the very top of the farm, the top of the world. I'm on the highest field on the farm, which is Big Breck. And I'm just sat at the edge of the field, and I'm looking at a couple of Chinese water deer sprinting across the field at the moment. And my good colleague Stephen is currently drilling a clover mix. He's sort of surface drilling. He's basically just scattering it on the surface of the field. And immediately before he did that, I've just been basically zipping around the field on one of the farm vehicles with a seed spreader on the back, broadcasting a rye and wheat mix, which is a sort of a nursery crop to protect the clover from sort of being too exposed until it gets established. This is the last clover lay that we are drilling on the farm, and this will be in place for 2 years. So this is the last one we've got to do this year. Not the last bit of work we've got to do this year, but the last bit of clover. And so, yeah, it's a beautiful day to be doing it, and we could probably do with a bit of rain before too long to help to get everything established.
And so let me just so everybody is clear. This is what we would describe as a year one of our 5-year organic rotation for this particular plot that you're drilling. Yeah. So the idea is that it stays in for 2 years, and then there'll be probably a barley or a wheat crop going in after that in year 3. As you probably know, well, we've explained this a few times in the past, that basically all of our areas will be in rotation, in a five-year rotation. So you have year 1 clover lay, year 2 clover lay, year 3 would be wheat or barley, year 4 a legume, probably beans, and then a year 5 wheat or barley. And so this is the beginning. These field, although we've kind of got lots of different plots at different stages in the 5-year plan, these ones are kind of, they begin at year 1. Yeah, so it's going to be great. And Stephen managed to last weekend get the other plot on that field done. We were waiting for an extra load of clover, and that arrived this morning. So Nathan and Stephen jumped straight on it and are up there.
Yeah, this field is going into year 1 clover because it really needs to take a break for 2 years. This field was last used to grow carrots, and it's had the guts knocked out of it. There's hardly any organic matter.
We had potatoes a year before that as well, so it really has had the guts knocked out of it.
Yeah. So it's really, 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 really tired. And we've got a lovely mix. Our clover lay is more than just clover, actually. I mean, a lay, just for anyone who's listening, is essentially a sort of a temporary feature, some grassland or herbs that are put down, really, in this case, for the purpose of fertility building and allowing the soil to recover for a while. So that's 2 full years that these plots up in Big Breck are coming out of production, and all they're doing is they're just growing clover, which when it gets established romps away and puts on masses of organic matter, lots of biomass, and also the amazing thing about clover is because it forms a lovely thick carpet, it actually suppresses weeds. So we essentially have the soil covered and shielded from erosion by wind and water, which we know that we really need to do on the farm. And actually also what we're doing is we're keeping weeds under control, and the clover that we have, the legumes that we have in this mix, are all fixing nitrogen and storing that basically so that we have, you know, fertility for the following crop. So I mean, and it's a nice mix. It's red clover. There's another kind of clover called a black medic, which is a little low-lying clover with tiny little yellow flowers. And then we've got lucerne, which is another legume, which is also fixing nitrogen. And then we've got mustard and late flowering perennial ryegrass. And so it's a mix that we just put on the soil, very, very shallow, and then we'll roll it in. We need good soil contact for the clover to get established. So after Stephen and I have finished getting this clover in today, we'll then come back up here with rollers and roll the field so that you basically, it's like a pool table afterwards. We're looking for it to be smooth enough you could ride a bike over it without sort of shaking your teeth out. And that's all we need to do here. And then we'll just keep an eye on it and try and keep the pigeons from eating all the clover when it starts to get going.
And then you're heading down to the marsh fields to put in the OP2. Is that the next plan, or to kind of at least prep that ground in preparation for the OP2?
Yeah, now we have, so OP2 is the sort of the code which is given to a wild birdseed mixture under the sort of mid-tier countryside stewardship agreement that we have. So we've been using this shorthand. We'll refer to SW6, which is an overwinter cover crop, or we'll refer to OP4, which I think is something like a multi-species lay, or we'll refer to AB8, which is a pollinator mix, and OP2 is a wild birdseed mix. And we've got a lovely mix which contains kale, fennel, some spring wheat, some millet, all sorts of goodies. There's loads and loads of stuff in there, loads of sunflowers as well. And that wild birdseed mix, we'll get that established on just over 20 hectares of the farm. But because we're working in an organic system, gardeners may recognize the term stale seed bed. Because we can't use pesticides, we're putting this wild birdseed mix onto areas where we've previously had crops growing, and we also have arable plants growing. And so what we'll start off by doing as soon as we finish this clover is we'll cut and cultivate the areas that are going to get the wild birdseed mix. And then we need to leave them for a little while and then go back and knock out any weeds that come up so that we have as clean a seed bed as we can manage with an organic system. And then, yeah, the wild birdseed mix is a 2-year mixture. So we actually establish it this year and it stays in for 2 years and provides a different range of plants in next year. And the idea is we leave it in the ground and we don't cut it at the end of the year. And the stalks of various different things like the sunflowers and the millet and the kale, they're all upright, they stay in place. And over winter, as they die off, as they reach senescence, you have a lovely seed source for all the various different wild birds that we have around the area. And so we are, you know, if we get that wild bird seed mix established, we're providing a fantastic support for wild bird populations.
So I think that's going to be my word of the day, senescence. It's not something I use in everyday use, and you've now educated me. Thank you very much. That's great.
You're welcome. I think
That's
in
cool.
essence is the state that I'm achieving rapidly this week, trying to get one of our tractors working as well.
Yeah, the 200 is not your favorite piece of kit, and it's done its time. But buying tractors is an expensive business, folks. And yeah, so we're gonna see whether we can give it a last gasp by getting it some serious repairs. But I have a sad feeling. I think Stephen's comment was that the tires might be worth something, which is a pretty damning indictment from our friendly northerner who works with us. I don't think he's a massive fan of the 200. So
he's also mentioned that it's about time it went to a pig farm, which is which is his way of saying basically pig farms are where tractors go to die. So
Yeah. Generally, he was not very positive about it this morning. Yes, we there's not much we can do about that. It is what it is. But hey
I
ho,
mean,
never mind.
it's fine. It still just kind of works. It's just that some days we don't know whether we should be calling a mechanic or an exorcist.
Yeah, we could make our own horror film on Deepdale with the 200 as the central character instead of Carrie. Be great, wouldn't it? Really? Yeah, marvelous. And we have our stewardship agreement. Finally, the RPA have sent us a stewardship agreement. It's only been 10 months, I think, since we put in our application. So
it started 1st of January this year, apparently.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And we've now got it, and it's mid-June. It's great, isn't it? So we're going to go through that in the next couple of days, and fingers crossed, there's no more issues with it, and we can sign it and return it. So that'll be really good. The wildflowers on North Glebe are just looking absolutely stunning. I wandered up there yesterday just for fresh air and beauty, and quite a lot of campers were standing there reading your little notice that you'd put up with explaining what was in the field and taking photos and going lots of oohing and ahhing and isn't that lovely? So that's really cool. That's
the thing that's great is we've really only just got going. I mean, North Glebe is one field, and North Glebe is around about 5 hectares. And just to sort of give people an idea of the scale of what we're going to be doing, roughly what you see in North Glebe is what we will be having on well over 80 hectares of the farm. And so, it's going to be fantastic to see when it all gets going. We have a little bit longer to get a lot of our sort of wildflower areas established, and most of that work we need to be thinking about doing in sort of August and no later than September. So we're going to have a very busy late summer this year, because we'll have harvest, and we'll also have lots and lots of wildflower areas to get established as well. And we're looking at options for how we can get our wildflowers established. So an experiment that we tried last year was actually taking some hay bales from a donor farm over at Warham, and basically splitting those bales open and trying to distribute the seed from a different meadow to our farm. And it was a bit of a disaster by all accounts, because we didn't have great equipment to do the work with. But we're going
and also the weather was not kind.
The weather was fairly heinous. So we are going to we'll hopefully give it another go this year. And the fantastic thing about doing transfers of hay from another meadow like that is that we can have biodiversity in that seed stock that's in that hay, which is way over and above anything you can get out of a packet. So we live in hope that we can find a way to make that work, and we'll have some truly incredible sort of wildflowers coming into next year across the farm.
We will persevere, and we will make it work. And I know that Henry from Fwag is very keen for us to be able to use some of these wonderful wildflowers that have been produced elsewhere. So looking forward to that, and it will work in some way. We just have to get there. First open farm Sunday that we've done in a very long time, and
very exciting,
and really lovely that so many other people have kind of got excited about it too, which is the lovely thing. So you came up with this idea just a few weeks ago and said, "Oh, should we do it?" And Stephen was quite keen, and Estelle was pretty keen, and then we started talking to partners, and suddenly we've gotten a really interesting event, and it's like, oh, this is just awesome. Very exciting. So the plan is Open Farm Sunday is the Sunday, the 27th of June. It's free to come along, but you do need to book a ticket, because we have to limit numbers, particularly due to COVID. So you do need to book a ticket. It is free. Just head to deepdalefarm.co.uk and you'll see Open Farm Sunday on there, and follow the link to book your tickets. Basically, you can either come in the morning or in the afternoon. It's the same thing whichever you come to. So there's no need to worry if you can't get tickets for the morning, and it's exactly the same morning and afternoon. The idea is that at 10 o'clock and at 2 o'clock, there'll be a sort of a exhibition, sort of wander around, chat opportunity where you'll be able to see our kit that we'll sort of lay out and you can have some photos with. You'll be able to chat with a bunch of really interesting people who are going to have stands. So that includes people like Norfolk Brewhouse or Moongazer Ale, as they're now called. You can talk to people like Norfolk Brewhouse and now known as Moongazer Ale about the process from sort of basically the barley that we grow right through the malting process to the lovely beer you can taste with them. You'll be able to chat to William and meet some of his sheep and possibly his young daughter, who's very insistent that she's going to be telling everybody about their lovely farming. There'll be Dominic and his bees, and there'll be some lovely people from the Norfolk Rivers Trust talking about how they worked with us to avoid erosion and flooding on the farm, and the nature that they're helping us sort of discover on the farm, things like eels.
Waterfall.
Yeah, of course, the waterfalls. So yeah, the waterfalls are going to be brilliant. If we can sort of find that we've definitely got waterfalls, that'll be absolutely wonderful. So it's going to be a lovely morning and afternoon. And then if you want to join us, you need to book another ticket for that. Again, it's free, but we're going to be doing a walk at 11 o'clock and at 3 o'clock. So you could come along, meet all the stalls, look at the various different bits of machinery, chat to people, and then you're very welcome to join us on a walk afterwards. As we say, tickets are completely free, but we are asking people if they'd like to leave donations for both the Norfolk Rivers Trust and for Yana, which is You're Not Alone, which is deals with mental health for the farming and rural community. So it's an incredibly important thing, particularly at this strange times with COVID. Charity is much needed and needs much help. So yeah, if you'd like to join us, please do head to our website, deepdalefarm.co.uk. Follow the links and book on, and we would love to see you. It's going to be really, really good fun. And if you can't make that, we are always doing our monthly guided walks around the farm on the first Thursday of every month. Again, if you go to our website, deepdalefarm.co.uk, click on the links, you'll find the information. And either Nathan or I. Nathan's running the one in July, which is the next one that we'll be doing, and we haven't decided who's running the one in August yet because nobody's told us exactly when harvest is going to happen, so we'll just wait and see on that one. But it will be me or Nathan taking you for a guided walk around the farm, explaining what we can see, where we've got to with the process of changing the farm. Please come and join us. It'd be lovely to have you with us. And there will be many other events that we're going to be doing at Deepdale over the time. We're working on that program. Richard Rood, who's going to be with us for the Open Farm Sunday, he's a countryside artisan. He's going to be running some pole lathing courses and things like that. So there's going to be lots of stuff added onto our program. So please do keep an eye on our website and you'll find all the information on there. Enjoy the sun, man.
You managed to say all of that without breathing. It was incredible.
Yeah, I've got a funny blue color and I'm about to fall off my chair, but it'll be fine.
Yeah, careful now. Super duper. I will see you very soon.
Yeah, cheers, man. And I hope there are no other bits of machinery that get their own mind and that they all do as you requested.
So far, fingers crossed.
Cheers, man. Keep well.
Thank you.
We're standing down on the Drove, which goes down onto the salt marshes, and if you turn right or left, you can head onto the Norfolk Coast path. It's just opposite Dalegate Market, where all the shops are, and the One Stop Nature shop is, and also the campsite and hostel. So it's all of 150 meters walk, if that, and it's just like a different world. You step down here away from the traffic noises. There is birds everywhere. You can hear a bird in the tree, which Ollie will explain to you. And I'm standing here with Ollie. He is one of the team from the One Stop Nature, which is one of our lovely shops at Dalegate Market. And we're just going to have a little chat about, what does One Stop Nature do, what's local to see, and hi Ollie, how you doing?
Hi, yeah, good. Thanks, Jason. Yeah, good. It's
First time on Deepdale podcast.
First time on Deepdale podcast. Slightly windy, slightly cooler than it has been.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually quite nice.
Yeah,
out of the sun and in the shade and in the sun. But welcome to Deepdale podcast.
Thank you.
You are a Deepdale podcast virgin.
I am the first time ever.
Excellent.
The cherry is broken. Let's go.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit more about what One Stop Nature does, because it's a huge asset to the site and a really good resource.
Yeah, so we've been open 9.5 years now. It was started by Richard, who is the managing director.
He is Mr. One Stop Nature.
He is Mr. One Stop Nature, and it's also a friend of his who is more the microscope side of things. So in terms of what we offer binoculars from all the sort of the top brands, including Swarovski, Zeiss and Leica, who are sort of considered the big three of the optics world, and telescopes as well, spotting scopes, microscopes, trail cameras, digital microscopes, bat detectors, a whole range of bird food and bird seed as well. But it's more than just a shop. Being a family-run business and also run by close friends of Richard, we kind of keep it very personal. So anyone that comes in is treated, whether you're buying a pack of bird seed for £1.95 or a Swarovski binocular for £2,000, you're treated the same way. And that's really what our mantra is. It doesn't matter how much you spend, you are treated equally.
Yeah, and the one thing I really love is that being a complete novice bird watcher, have no idea about any of it really. Although I'm learning slowly, but I think I'm still well below the beginner level. People will be horrified I've spent most of my life in Norfolk, particularly in the North Norfolk Coast. But the thing I love is that we chat to customers all the time on the campsite, and I think I love about all of the team is that they've all got their sort of specialist knowledge, and having you guys there as a place that we can send them to understand what should they be seeing, how should they be seeing it, where should they be seeing it, and most particularly kind of what's completely unexpected right now. It's just wonderful because you guys have all of that information at the fingertips.
Yeah, so I mean, we've probably got a combined total between the three of us that work there of around 150 years experience.
So just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, most of that is Richard, but we won't tell him that in person. He gets quite upset. But so it's having that experience of being in Norfolk. None of us are actually from Norfolk originally, but all moved here in one way or another, end up in the same place. As I say, that combined experience means that we are able to impart the knowledge to people, whether they be complete beginners who have a query about a bird in their garden, to people that are wondering where a particular rare bird has been sighted, when it was last sighted, that kind of thing, because you never know what the interest is going to take. It could be photography, it could be art, it could be general bird watching, it could be listing. There's huge amounts of variety with bird watching, and it's being able to answer those questions and being able for people to understand that birding isn't always as easy as it might appear, and also sometimes isn't as hard as it might appear. It's far more accessible than people think.
And I think the thing for me is that you can come down this drove and you can come onto these marshes here, and in a very short period of time you can see an awful lot of stuff. When you first look, it feels like a very flat, very dead sort of space, doesn't it? Very dead environment.
Yeah,
but then when you're actually standing up on the sea wall and you've got that little bit of elevation and you're looking across, you've got all the salt marshes to your left, you've got all of our freshwater marshes to the right, you've got Sculphead Island in the distance, the National Nature Reserve, and you suddenly realise just the abundance of wildlife here, and it's just so nice to know that it's all there on the doorstep.
I always see it the best analogy I can think of is if you think about Jurassic Park in terms of the T-Rex and the famous line of "you can't see if you don't move." That's the sort of thing with these marshes, is that if you look briefly and you think nothing's moving, chances are you're actually missing quite a lot. And actually, when you start noticing things, there's actually there's a bird over there, there's two birds, and it suddenly starts appearing, especially in the evenings when the starlings come into roost or the waders come to roost like curlew. The numbers of them can suddenly grow very quickly, and it's just when they start moving in, that's when the biggest sort of visual experience comes about. And certainly from the outset, as you say, it can look quite quiet, but with time spent and a good way to observe is just to sit and watch and wait and things will generally come to you.
Yeah. And if this is June, we've had some gorgeous weather. We've clearly had a very late spring. What should we be looking for? What's kind of unusual? What's unexpected?
Yeah, so this spring, as you say, has been very strange. Things like house martins, which would generally turn up the end of April, have actually been turning up in the last week of May to breed, which is unprecedented. That does not happen. Their numbers are down anyway. But on the flip side, that has led to some very strange sightings. A friend of mine has always said if it turns up in June, it's going to be good. And what he means by that is that it's going to be rare. It's going to be a rare bird. And the reason for that is that by June in Europe, most birds are already in their breeding grounds, they're established, they're on territory, they've got either even chicks or eggs. So anything that does turn up now is always going to be a little bit odd. And one of the biggest things this year, or two big things this year, certainly in May and just leading into June, was an arrival of golden orioles, which are a beautiful bird. They're sort of yellow and black all over as an adult male, sort of more greeny colours as a female. And they're generally a species that we used to have here as much more common, but because of habitat change and also just in terms of general population, that has declined. But this spring has seen a huge number come through Norfolk, usually 3 or 4 a day across the whole of May and into June. And the second one is also rose-coloured starling, which is from Eastern European species. The adults are a beautiful mix of black and pink. They look, in terms of size, very similar to our starlings, but very distinctive. And they've been arriving here in the last sort of 10 days or so in huge numbers because of what is called an eruption. And this is where you have a very good breeding year the year before, and because of the strange weather conditions we've been having recently with lots of easterly winds, these have come across from Eastern Europe and they've been moving along the Norfolk coast. So those would be my two things to look out for. In June, they're still hanging around, but it's an interesting time of year because even some of the waders that breed in the far Arctic, by the time you get to the end of June, they're already finished. Their breeding season's over and it lasts for 2 or 3 weeks. And you'll find that the females of wading species like spotted redshank, like golden plover, can already start moving south. So by the end of June we should start seeing them, and that really, for a lot of birds, is already their autumn. Their autumn migration has already started at the end of June.
Wow, right, okay. Well, thank you very much, Ollie. That's fantastic.
No
and
problem.
No, don't be a stranger. You're welcome back on the podcast
Yeah,
anytime.
no, I definitely will.
That'd be really great.
Norfolk's a fantastic place for wildlife, and it could easily be every month there's an update where something changes, because it is very easy to come here in each month and see something different. Certainly when we move into the main part of autumn in August and September and October, that's when the biggest change happens. But if you want any more information, just pop into One Stop Nature. We've got everything you might want. If you want binoculars, obviously we've got those, or if you just want information, we've obviously got plenty of that.
So if you are looking for One Stop Nature, you can head to the Dalegate Market website, or if you're here in person, head down the line of shops near the Deepdale Cafe and Fat Face. One Stop Nature is the large unit on the end. Got the most amazing selection of information and binoculars and telescopes and all sorts of other things. And call in there, whether it's for a bird feeder or a pair of binoculars, as Ollie says. Lots of books, lots of other useful information, and go in for a chat. They love to tell you what's local, and they're a lovely bunch of guys. So call in and say hello. Thanks a lot, Ollie.
No worries,
really
Jason.
nice to have you on the podcast.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. I am now standing in the Staithe Smokehouse, which is a lovely little sort of wooden fisherman's shed in the car park of the White Horse, which is in Brancaster Staithe, just a few 100 metres up the road from Deepdale. And I'm standing here with Fran. Fran is an award-winning head chef of the White Horse. I'm guessing there's not hundreds of lead female chefs, so a bit of uniqueness there. And we're just gonna chat about sort of what inspires her to put together the menus for the White Horse and the kind of things that she loves to cook, basically. So introduce yourself, Fran.
Yeah, so as Jason said, I'm Fran, the head chef at the White Horse in Brancaster Staithe. Been head chef here for 5 years, but I've actually been chefing here for 15 years. Sort of came here after training in America, and been here ever since. And I love it. There's so much sort of great produce here, and we're very lucky where we live to be able to do what we do.
And so when you're putting together like like your menu, how far in advance are you thinking?
With menu planning, like I say, we're so lucky. We've got the lobsters, we've got the great smoked salmon here that we do. We've got the Norfolk black turkeys. It's not all about the meat and fish. We've got great sort of farmers around here that do great vegetables right on our doorstep, and yeah, it's brilliant. There's so much we can use, so much.
Yeah, I think we're nicely spoilt for good food, aren't we? Definitely. So it's really lovely, and I've seen you wandering around the Christmas market before and noticing a few of the stall holders then. And so what got you into chefing? What inspired you?
To be honest, if I'm being honest, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I left school, and my mum said, "Oh, well, you enjoy cooking. You're quite good at it. Why don't you go and try and do that?" So went to college for 3 years. Decided I was quite good at it. So I've got opportunity to go to America and do a work placement there. Came back here. I did some training at Morstan Hall, so that brought me to Norfolk when I was at college. Came back intending to get a full-time job at Morstan Hall. They didn't have any jobs, so my friend Richard had a job here. Said, "I've got a friend." Turned up the next day, no interview, no nothing, and like I say, 15 years on, still here. So must have been doing something right. And I love it. I love, like you say, we're so lucky, whether it's sort of foraging sea vegetables or going to meet the farmers, or, there's chutney makers, everything, charcuterie, you name it, we've got it within reach of us. So yeah, it's brilliant. Brilliant.
That's great, and so tell me a bit more about, because this is where we're standing. The Staithe Smokehouse is something that you've done with Phil, your husband. Yep. It's sort of my fault that you met him because he came to work for us at Deepdale as one of our backpacker staff, and sort of has never really left the area. And you're now responsible for him rather than me, which is lovely. So tell me a bit more about what Staithe Smokehouse does.
Yeah, so we had the opportunity to buy this business off a local fisherman, Simon Letzer, who moved to Scotland to just do fishing. His father, Paul, did it for many years before that, built up a massive reputation on the coast. Phil worked on the bar, decided he wanted a change. Simon offered us the business, and Phil loves, he did a bit of back garden sort of smoking and stuff, and as a hobby. And then this opportunity came along, and yeah, we love it, absolutely love it. I do up the top in the pub and down here, so I'm now sort of doing both. So I don't know who got the better end of the deal. Phil does like a 4-day week, and I do sort of a 80-hour week. So yeah, we'll see who got the better end of the deal. Yeah.
Excellent. And so is it all sort of local produce on the whole that you smoke here, or do you get stuff from all over?
All over really. Our salmon comes from Scotland. It's farmed. It's the best way for us sustainability wise. We sometimes we smoke the mackerel, but a lot of it, the local, comes from being smoked in Brancaster Staithe really.
Well, that's fantastic, Fran. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Hey man, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. Yeah, I'm a little bit tired, but I'm good.
It's that exhilaration of lots of customers, but that knackeredness of lots of customers too.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is lovely to have everyone back. It's lovely to be firing on all cylinders, and it's lovely to have so many happy customers and with us. And the weather's been absolutely amazing, which has helped everyone be happy and relax in the sunshine up here, and it's been great. It is full on, but then that's what we want really. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah. It's interesting to see the cogs having to turn really fast, having kind of. It's a very different. Yeah. You and I have worked all the way through the COVID situation.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, but it is a different physicality to it, isn't it? Whereas when we were in the lockdowns and stuff, it was using our brains trying to work out how we made everything add up, and now it's that physicality of making sure we can get all the jobs done. So
yeah, it's now dealing with the day-to-day, excitements and unlooked for events that you think, how has that happened? Okay, let's deal with that one. But yeah, it's all good fun.
But it's nice having customers back, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, it's the first time that they, this last month, first time the campsite's been anything approaching full, properly full for a very long time. 18 months probably.
And so nice to have tents and camper vans back in a way that we just haven't been able to have them before.
No, that's right. It's different, different feel, and it's lovely. The variety is great. So yeah, really good, really good, really, and everyone's been happy and impressed, and they've worked with what we've got to work with in terms of ongoing restrictions and how we manage those here, and we didn't know how that process was actually going to play out in real time, but it's working. It's working, and we're keeping people as safe as we possibly can while making it as relaxed and easy to use as we can. So, I'm happy.
Hats off to you and all the team. I'm so impressed with the way that it's working. And as you say, there's always some interesting issues, but it's come together brilliantly well in a way that I think we were both very nervous about. So it's good. I have no issues at all with how it's working. I think it's and 99.9% of customers, absolutely the vast majority, they want to make it work, and they're happy, and they like what we're doing. So it's good, very good. What are you looking forward to this in the next couple of months, apart from maybe some more sleep?
Sleep occasionally. I think just continuing to do what we do. I mean, we're almost completely fully booked, so we know what's coming. And it's more of this. We are in a situation where we would not normally be this busy at this time of year, midweek, and we are completely full. And so it's just getting the body and the mind attuned to doing that for another couple of months as a minimum, and probably longer than that, the way it looks. And just keep rolling with it, to be honest.
And then festival at the end of September.
Working, over the next couple of weeks, we'll look to do a bit of festival work, just so that we know where our heads are, I think, on it. And now that the government have made the latest announcement, sort of, which will cover us how we operate here until the 19th of July. And then I think by the time we get to the 19th of July, or the week before, we'll have a pretty good idea of what August and September are going to look like, and then that'll be our real decision making point, won't it, for everything. But up to that point, plan for it to go ahead as we have already got planned and booked.
The lineup you put together is fantastic, and I know you're talking to other people. So
there's a few more little additions we want to put in, really, and that would be great if we can get the people that we're looking at. And we'll then look to put on the best event that we can in the circumstances, and hope that it's as close to normal as we can get it.
I think I will feel that things are beginning to get back to normal when there's a whole group of us jumping up and down to a bound in the brick barn. That will make me feel like we're pretty close to normality at that point. So,
I don't know when that will be exactly, and who knows. I think if we've learned anything over this last period, it is that planning too far ahead is not something that we should be doing.
No, I think that's very true. Yes,
we must have changed our plans. We must have changed them at least 5, 6, 7 times.
It feels like a lot more than that. It may be just that we didn't formulate a full plan. We just had about 30 different options that we were going to consider and see which one to do.
It's all part of it, isn't it? Everyone's been dealing with the same sorts of issues across different elements and areas of the economy, and we're just a tiny little cog in that. So, but it's interesting.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Good way of putting it. Well, man, get some sleep. Thank you for all of your incredibly hard work getting us where we are, and and thank you to all those customers who are coming and supporting us, working with us on in not normal, but moving in that direction.
certainly getting through Tift Merritt's classic album on the way home every night when I leave here about 9 o'clock, and that's getting me home.
So who's that? Tift Merritt?
Tift Merritt, yeah, who's just a wonderful American, North Carolinian singer-songwriter who I've loved for many, many years now, and she's fantastic. And her classic album, Travelling Alone, is a masterpiece. It's an absolute perfect masterpiece. I hadn't listened to it for ages, and then it was in the car and put it on, knowing that there's this one track that I always used to love to listen to as I was getting anywhere on my journeys, of which I've had a few over the years. Still Not Home, and that track just is the best driving track when you're on the last 3 or 4 miles home. Just best track. Still Not Home, Tift Merritt. I've played it on the drums a couple of times when we've jammed around with bands, and yeah, it's fantastic. And the album is flawless. The album is absolutely flawless. You listen to it and every track is so full of poetry and emotion and beautiful, beautiful singing and playing. It's the most brilliant album.
See, this is what I love. I ask you a question, you're totally unprepared, and you pull out an absolute classic like that.
I saw her live at Cornbury about 8 years ago, and yeah, managed to have a few words with her, and I'd known about her before then, and she's just lovely and an incredible artist, really incredible artist. I'd love to get her here at Deepdale. I have to just keep an eye on when she might be coming back to the UK, because she had a little baby, a little girl who's now old enough for her to tour again. So I know she's getting out there again. So that would be great.
That'd be very cool. Yeah, that'd be very cool.
Yeah.
And the only problem every time I do this with you is that I end up having to go and spend money on new albums, which is not a bad thing, but it's it can get quite expensive. But like going to Glastonbury, you have to kind of buy all the albums.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, man. Really nice to chat with you. And
as ever,
we will chat again next month.
Yeah. It's adios.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
What's on at Deepdale? It is just so lovely to have events to be able to talk about here at Deepdale. We can start with the amazing Pantaloons, hilarious Pantaloons, I think is probably a better description, with their 3 outdoor theatre plays that they've got coming in the next couple of months. So in just a very short period of time, we've got Pride and Prejudice on the 26th of June, which will be a brilliantly funny take on that wonderful, wonderful book. You definitely don't want to miss that. It will be absolutely hilarious. And then on the 6th of August, we've got The Tempest. They will find all the funny aspects of what is one of the darker plays, I think we could safely say. And then on the 22nd of August in the afternoon, we have the hilarious Wind in the Willows. Watching them flipping between all the various different characters will be absolutely brilliant, and it will be superb fun for all the family. That is in the afternoon on Sunday the 22nd of August. All through the year, Driftwood Glass Studio, Rose and Kieran, they run glass workshops. You can book on whenever you want, give them a call and plan those. They have regular both introduction and sort of deeper glass making workshops. Rose was featured in our podcast last month making a wonderful coaster, and you can go there and make your own. So give them a shout. The pop-up shops at Dalegate Market continue. We have artisans every week. They change on a Wednesday, so the pop-ups are open from Thursday through till the following Tuesday. 4 different artisans, all sorts of wonderful different products, and have a look round and come and visit regularly, because there's some great stuff there. The Deepdale Pizza Nights on Friday nights carry on, and the Deepdale Fish and Chips on the Saturday. And then we have Norfolk Thai coming to join us on quite a few Thursdays. So that's quite a few Thursdays through until the end of August. So check the website for details.
We've already mentioned the Open Farm Sunday, which Nathan and I were chatting about. Really looking forward to welcoming many of you to that. And if you can't come to the Open Farm Sunday, or you want to have a regular visit to Deepdale Farm, then we have our farm guided walks on the first Thursday of every month. Take a look on our website, please book ahead, and you'll get a sort of an hour and a half to 2 hours wander around the farm with some really in-depth explanation of what you're looking at, where we are with our process of becoming organic, and a really nice way to see the farm. And of course, in the end of September, we've got the Deepdale Festival, Thursday the 23rd to Sunday the 26th of September. There are still a few places on the campsite to stay. We haven't announced any day tickets yet for anybody staying locally or locals. We will be doing that probably later in August, when we have a better idea of what rules we've got to meet to run that event. But the accommodation is booking fast, and we really hope that we'll be able to run a fantastic event this year. The lineup that Chris has put together is absolutely superb. Have a look on our website at deepdalecamping.co.uk, click on events, and you'll find a whole heap of other events locally, everything from guided walks to workshops and exhibitions. And yeah, come and join us for some of them. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Deepdale Podcast. You can subscribe to our podcast through any good podcast sites, including Apple, Google, Castbox, where we host our podcast. Just type in Deepdale Podcast to your favourite provider, and we should be there. We love your feedback, so please do email us your thoughts and suggestions to podcast@deepdalefarm.co.uk. But in the meantime, if you'd like to listen to previous episodes, you can find them on your podcast provider, or head to our website, deepdalecamping.co.uk or deepdalefarm.co.uk, to see the whole back catalogue. The December 2020 episode is a must, as Chris gives us his music release recommendations for 2020. Thanks again for listening. Stay safe and well in these strange times, and hope we'll see you back at Deepdale in the not too distant future.
Skies all open wide, geese go high and over. Oh, now you're a beachcomber, fistful of sandfire, sea, lavender, sea.